The next one I have here is the Swashbuckler. Swashbuckler. Okay, so 1 mana, 1/1 battlecry. Add a random class card to your hand. Yeah, I mean, you might not have much to do on turn 1, so you just slam this, or you can use to enable combos, like Rogue wants to enable combos. You can play this with like Bran Bronzebeard. You can play like Bran on turn 4, for example. You play Bran, you play this, you get 2 immediate thingies, and you still have a Bran on the board. I don't think it's like amazing, but I think it's solid. Like, it's also a pirate, so maybe there's some pirate synergy potentially there. It's definitely a big plus on it. So if you're playing some kind of pirate deck, maybe this is like an easy card to include. But with like adding the random class cards, it's always a little bit unreliable, because like, you might get something you can't really use, and if you get something that you can't use that well, it's not worth it in the end. So maybe not a competitive card, but it should be a lot of fun, especially with like the new 5 mana minion that gives you discounts on those class cards if you're playing cards like Burgle and Anders the Huckster. So this goes in that deck. It's gonna be like a fun deck, probably not competitive. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's like that high of an impact. It might get played in some competitive decks too. Like, it might be a little bit of a stretch, maybe not. It's so unreliable. Probably not, but it's a cool card anyway, and I'm gonna like do a lot of experimenting with it to figure out exactly in what deck to play this and see if it's gonna be strong or not. It's much easier to evaluate after playing with it for a little bit. 4 mana, 3/6. Whenever you cast a spell, restore. Priest cards. Like, you saw the Druid card, like, that was so exciting. And what is this? Like, yeah, it's not bad. It's just. Didn't we already have like card like this in the previous set? There was some kind of like cartoon card. Like, I don't know. It's just boring. It doesn't do much. You get a little bit of healing, but that's not what you want to do. Like, really, like, you don't want to heal. You want to control the board, and that's what Priest struggles with. So it doesn't address any of the issues with Priest, I think. They 3 health gain, like, kinda, I suppose, could buy you some time. Like, if this is left on the board, you can get some extra health to make it to the late game where you maybe have a lot of powerful things to do. But it's so like low impact. It's like so dull. It doesn't like, I don't know. It's just you just play this and then like nothing happens. That's how I feel. Like, it's just a 3/6. Like, I don't know, man. It's really boring. It's not like I don't get excited when I see this card. Like, there's nothing exciting about the card. I don't think this is necessarily going to be played. Maybe if there's some kind of like hyper powerful late game Priest deck that surfaces after like 2 more sets, then maybe this is gonna fit the 4 mana slot. So you have like a minion that like can't be ignored, or it's gonna heal for free. Like, you get like 6 healing, which can be huge to make it to the late game. If like late game Priest is powerful, and you have like nothing else to put at 4 mana. But this is like, the way I look at this is just like, if I don't have any other 4-drop to play, like if nothing is like better, then I just like, I guess that's fine. Alright, then here we go. Purify! Oh my god, this card is... yeah, I don't know what happened here. Like, I was talking about it before I started the review, so I just like... I don't know, it just makes me sad. Like, it's an adventure. Priest gets 3 cards. Priest is the class that's doing the worst. Like, Priest sucks right now, okay? It's a fact. Priest is bad. There's 3 cards, 3 opportunities to put Priest back on the map. It's like, alright, so Purify. Purify was the card that they chose to go with to help Priest out. Like, out of all the cards that they like, this was the top 3. Like, how do we narrow it down? Like, what to give Priest to help them? It's like Purify made the cut. Like, yes, this is it. Purify. Yes. 2 mana, silence a friendly minion, draw a card. So Priest struggles in the early game. Priest struggles with all the situational cards. Like, all of the cards are situational. That's why Priest sucks. Like, yeah, you have Shadow Word Pain, yeah, you have Shadow Word Death, but everybody who's played Priest, like sometimes you draw the death when you need the pain, and sometimes you throw the pain when you need the death, and sometimes when you need a minion, you throw the pain and the death. It's just another really clunky card. Like, what do you do with this? Like, play it on Ancient Watcher. Okay, it makes your Ancient Watcher Chillwind Yeti, but you need like 2-card combination to do that. I think this card should have like at least been able to like target an enemy minion. Then it's like a Silence, which is 0 mana, and you miss out on the card. So this is like, let's compare this to Silence. Like, you pay 2 extra mana for a draw a card effect. Like, that's not even good. Like, paying 2 mana, like, it's not that amazing. It's probably like slightly okay, but it's like Silence is not a card that's getting played. And this is, I'm not even sure if this is better. Like, and you can only target on a friendly minion. There's some synergies, but I can't help to feel that like this could have been 1 mana or be able to target enemy minions, or be 1 mana and be able to like silence either. Like, silence is a frustrating mechanic and blah blah blah. Like you play your powerful minion and then your opponent silences it and you feel bad. So maybe like that's the thing why it can only target friendlies, but it's just a weak card. Like I don't really like. Makes me sad. I'm gonna try to play this for sure. Like I'll try to play it, but it's like, how good can this really be? There's no way this is gonna be like anyhow like extremely good. Silvermoon Portal, 4 mana, Paladin card. Give a minion +2/+2. Summon a random 2-cost minion. Okay, so this is not a bad card at all. I think it's very good for like Arena, and it's actually really good for Arena. I don't really play that much Arena. Maybe Paladin needed another common card, so this is gonna help out there. I have no idea. Yeah, like the 4 mana slot is really crowded, and you already have Blessing of Kings, True Silver Champion, Consecration, Keeper of Uldaman. Like, there's so many good 4 mana minions that I don't really like necessarily think this is gonna be like anything too amazing. Like, I don't like when I look at this card, like it's not necessarily better than Blessing of Kings. Like, is it better or not? I'm not sure. And like Blessing of Kings is like not even an auto include. You get a little bit less buff, but you get a random 2 minion. I don't know. It looks like a fairly fun Arena card. That's like all. I don't expect that this would necessarily get played in the Constructed. You can also get the Doomsayer from it. Like, average 2-cost minion is like 2/3 or 3/2. I don't think it's better than Kings. It's probably as good as Kings. So it's on par with Kings. It's situationally, this can be a tiny bit better, but I don't think I'll be playing this. Maybe in a like a Reno deck of some sort, but nothing to get excited about. 3 mana Nightbane Templar, 2/3. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, summon 2 1/1 whelps. Yeah, I think this is like a pretty fair like dragon paladin card. It's nothing too crazy. Like, you can like Razorven Hunter is a 3 mana 2/3 that spawns 1/1 with it. So like if you're holding a dragon, you get an extra 1/1. But like Razorven Hunter is not good at all. So like having 1 extra 1/1, is that gonna make it suddenly like really good to play a 3 mana minion like that? It can be pretty good. Like, I'm not saying it's a lot of stats for 3 mana. Like it's like 4 attack and 4 toughness or 4 health. Sorry, 5 health for 3 mana. So it's fairly like mana efficient. If you're playing Dragon Paladin, you're probably gonna play this. But I'm not convinced on how good it is. But there's a chance that it's gonna be like very good for fighting for the early board. It's a lot of stats for the mana cost. So I think it's gonna help the Dragon Paladin. How much? Maybe not as much as you would think at first, because of that comparison to the Razorven Hunter. Doesn't hurt to have the 1 extra 1/1 though. I'm gonna read the donation. We got $3 from Jemmis. Hyvää sunnuntaita, Janne. Kiitos, Jemmis. Thank you for the donation. You too have a nice Sunday. Next up we have Medivh's Valet. Okay, well this is a card that I actually really like a lot, because I want to be playing a control mage deck. I want to be playing a slow control mage, which could maybe manage to get to the late game and still have a lot of value. And like in a value mage type of deck, I think this is a really good card. Like 2 mana, 2/3, okay, it's like whatever. But if you're playing things like Ice Block, you can fairly reliably get the 3 damage off. It's so efficiently 2 mana Fire Elemental. Okay, well it doesn't have the same stat line as Fire Elemental, but everybody who's played like Dragons knows that like Blackwing Corruptor is like the best card in pretty much in Dragon deck, because the immediate effect and like Fire Elemental is really strong. And this has the same effect, and it's very flexible. Like you can play this and like something else, because you only take so little mana. So very strong card, very strong card in a Secret Paladin with like ice blocks and stuff. I don't know if how good this would be in like an aggressive mage deck, because you have to have the secret first for this to be worth it, and the secrets cost 3 mana, so like you don't curve out like secret and then into valet. And like if you're playing like an aggressive list, you're not playing ice blocks in an aggressive mage. You're playing something like mirror entity or counterspell, and those might not be there for the next turn. If you play the secret on turn 3, like it might not be there for turn 4 when you want to play this. And on turn 4 you probably want to play like 4-drop anyway. But for an ice block control mage of some sort, maybe value mage, maybe Reno mage, I think this is a really strong card, and I'm actually looking forward to playing this a lot. Next up, Babbling Book. 1 mana, 1/1. Battlecry. Add a random mage spell to your hand. This is like, wouldn't you just rather just put a good mage spell to your hand? Like you just play a good mage spell instead of this, and then you always have a good mage spell. Like the upside of this compared to like just straight up playing a very good mage spell to avoid the bad mage spell system. You can play this on turn 1 and you can still get like a decent mage spell. On turn 1 it's like it helps you trade, it helps you kind of like control the board. Maybe with Brand Bronzebeard, if you're already playing Brand Bronzebeard. I think this can be a good card, like it adds some brand value. You're gonna lure like Bran into something else, and then maybe if you have 1 extra mana, you just throw this in there to get 2 mage spells free. It's not too amazing. Like I think it's a good card. I'm glad the card exists. I think it's a very cool card, and in maybe Reno Mage, especially where you have a lot of like one-offs, this can make the cut. You can play it on an early turn. Turn 1, if you always would have this in the starting hand, I think it would be really good. But it's just like top decking this later on, it's like just like play it and just hope to get something that doesn't suck. I think most of the time I would just like rather have like straight up a card that wouldn't suck. But yeah, I think it's a cool card. Maybe I'm underestimating it a little bit. There might be some added value in getting a spell that your opponent can't play around or doesn't expect. Like they would think that like if you're playing an aggressive deck, maybe there's no AoE, and then you get an AoE from here, and just like something that you can catch your opponent off guard with. Maybe an extra polymer, but really unreliable. Not that impactful. Maybe a good card, but not like amazing. Alright, then we have Cat Trick. 2 mana secret for hunters. Secret mana after your opponent casts a spell, summon a 4/2 Panther with stealth. So, yeah, I mean that's pretty powerful effort. But the problem with this card is, hold on, wait, it's actually after an opponent casts a spell. I was gonna say that there's a consecration and it's just a dice immediate, but that's not the case. Because it happens after your opponent gets slow. So if there is a consecration, you're still gonna have a tiger afterwards. I think it's a cool secret. I think it's gonna be fairly good. Like sometimes you don't get that much value out of it. If it gets really common, people are gonna learn to play around it a little bit better. But it's a cool trick. I kind of like this. I like this card a lot. 4/2 for 2 mana. Yeah, but then again, like at 3 mana, you wouldn't really play a Panther, right? Like Panther on its own, it's not good enough. This is like only 1 less, and then you like get it randomly in random moments. I think it's like game breaking, but I think it's a good card. I can like round out the secrets. you can play like one of these kind of like so your opponent is guessing what secret you have, and then they don't play around it, or they play around it too much. So there's always that, and like secrets, it can be more valuable to just have a secret for like a spell like lock and load, or the being able to play this for 0 mana with the new 3/4 minion that was introduced. I think it's a good card. Tough to tell right now how good exactly and where exactly it's gonna go. Yeah, this I mentioned this shortly on the previous card. Cloaked Huntress, 3 mana, 3/4. Your secrets cost 0. This card is definitely very good, very very good. Like just the 3/4 stat line for 3 mana is on its own is like really good. It's very solid. Like it's not a 4/3, it's a 3/4. Like 3/4 is a lot better than a 4/3. Because 4/3s die to things like Frostbolt and like Wrath and all that stuff, and also like 4/3s kind of tend to trade down, or trade pretty badly with 2-drop. So this is kind of like it kills a 2-drop or a 1-drop and it still survives. 3/4 much better. If you're playing secrets, if you're playing a lot of secrets, they can be a lot of value with this. If you're playing lock and load, you could probably like lock and load cloaked. If you have a cloaked Huntress on the board, then you could like go like 0 mana secret, get another secret, 0 mana secret, 0 mana secret, like if you get lucky, or if you have a lot of those in the deck. I don't think it's that crazy good to like play lock and load, then play this and like blah blah blah. But if you like somehow make this survive a turn, if it is on the board, it adds some really crazy potential like lock and load value. Just getting all those secrets out there, drawing free cards. I think this is a really good card. I don't know if Secret Hunter, like how strong it is going to be overall, but there's a lot of decks that this is going to go into, and I also like the direction on this. Like it's a little bit different from like what the Hunter decks are doing right now. So you might see some creative Hunter deck building that are going to include more secrets potentially and do cool stuff. Yeah, 6 mana Moonclade Portal, restore 6 health, summon a random 6-cost minion. This is the like all 3 druid cards are like, I just feel like they are just all really good. Like I think this should have been a priest card. Priest could have used this. Like you could heal up, or if you have some high health minions, you can heal yourself and like have a 6-cost minion. Like I think it's a pretty good card. I think that the druid 6 mana slot is going to be a little bit crowded. I'm not sure if this is going to get played, like how much is going to get played. Maybe in a York druid, like if you can fit one in. Like this is like, you might not be playing a Reno deck, but I think this is a card that you probably only want to play one copy of it, and one copy can be powerful. Like you can use this restore 6 health. Remember, you don't have to use it on yourself. So if you play like Ancient of War, like have this in your hand on turn 6, you can use your Ancient of War, your 5/10, to kill off maybe like a 5/5 or something, and you can use this to heal a minion. And like healing a minion is very very strong for like druid especially that have a lot of high health minions. So there's a lot of value in that, and like 6-cost minions in general are pretty strong. Like there's Sylvanas, there's Cairn. Like I saw some spreadsheet on it. Like not all of them are that great. I think there's like the Murloc 2/3, which is like really terrible. That's the worst result for this. But the mana cost is efficient. Like 6 mana, summon a 6-cost minion, and the 6 health against aggressive deck. Maybe you can stabilize if you're playing against mage. Like you can what tends to happen in the mage games is that they kind of like have the early aggression with like some early minions, and then they might get you low enough to just kill you with Fireball and Frostbolt and all that stuff. But this is like one of those cards that even if you survive the early game, and even if you do quite a bit of damage, like when you later on you take the control, you can like kind of heal back to safety from those Fireball ranges. I like this card. It's not good against like Zoo or something like that, because Zoo is too fast. Like this is too slow. Like gaining 6 health. You're not supposed to be gaining 6 health on turn 6. You're supposed to kill all the stuff that they have on the board. So that's this is they save you against Zoo, but like some of their burn strategies, maybe against Hunter too. Like you can stabilize. I think you only play one though. Prince Malzahar. Malzahar? 5 mana, 5/6 demon. When the game starts, add 5 extra legendary minions to your deck. Counter Smill. That's what I first like heard about this card. Like yes, like if you're frustrated, lose the build. But honestly though, like what I'm gonna be doing with this deck, with this card is I'm gonna put it in my build deck. It's like if you see me play the build rogue, and I have all of those clips on YouTube too. Like when we hit the fatigue, it's too close, like way too close to comfort because of the lack of death load nowadays. Like it's way too close. Like I don't think it's gonna make Mill Broke like a strong thing. No, not at all. Like it might be very problematic having like expensive legendaries like blocking spots in your hand, but that's where I'm gonna be playing this for sure. Like I'm actually kind of excited to be trying it out. It's gonna be more like a fun thing. It's not gonna be a tournament tech, obviously, like, but it should be great. Like actually, when both players after the cold lights and the gang ups and everything, like when we go to close to fatigue, even if I played my Azure Drakes and that stuff, I should still be way ahead on the card count. So it's gonna be safe, and I would kill myself. Stat line is pretty good. Like you don't. I think this card overall is like mostly for like players who are a little bit new and might not have that many cards, or free to play players who don't have that many legendaries. And this is like so exciting because all you need to do is have the adventure, and then you get this, and you might get any legendary cards, like even the ones that you don't own, you don't have those yet. You can easily play this. Like if you don't have all the cards, like the extra legendaries are most likely going to be better than like your like some of your free cards. So join a legendary is really good in those situations. For like Control Warrior that goes to fatigue, this might be a thing to add this for like slow matchups, but drawing an extra legendary for like Control Warrior early on is not a good thing. Like you do not want to draw those, like you don't want to draw legendary cards. A lot of them tend to be expensive, so you want those cards in late game, so it kind of like messes up your early game, and like I think it's a downside to be drawing those extra legendaries. You rather have your Fiery War Axe, your Removal, your maybe Brawl, and cards like that. Like you put 5 cards, your 30 cards is all good cards, obviously, and now you add 5 cards that might not be good. So you rather just like always draw a good card. So it's not for players who have all the cards, players who play in legend ranks. It's not necessarily a good thing to add this. But in certain meta, maybe some console meta, yeah, you can throw this in your warrior and maybe still do okay. Very cool card. I'm certainly gonna be playing this in a lot of decks, but I don't think it's competitive, except for like some matchups or some like strategy overall that you know that you're gonna be going into fatigue a lot. 3 mana spell for warrior. Protect the king. For each enemy minion, summoning 1/1 pawn with taunt. Yeah, I mean, obviously you play this with Bolster, like that's the catch. But like, even if you play this with Bolster, it's just all dies to Hellfire. I think Unleash the Hounds is better. I think that this is like a. I like the card, but I don't think it's that strong. I don't think it's that amazing. And you definitely have to be playing Bolster with this, like Ravaging Ghouls, like Wild Pyromancer effects, like Holy Nova, anything just like clears this and hurts your other stuff too. But if you're playing a Bolster deck, you definitely, like, if Bolster somehow became a thing, you would absolutely play at least one of these. In certain meta, maybe this is like a really strong card to have against some aggro decks, like against Zoo, like for example, if you have a Fighter Works already out, you just like play this and then you kill the Knife Juggler, maybe they can't get through that easily, like, there could be some uses for it. But I wouldn't get like crazy excited, but I'm gonna be trying this in Bolster. Like if you're playing Bolster, you probably play 2, and yeah, you definitely play 2, and or you might play 1 in some, but in Bolster I guess 2. Just hope not to get Hellfired afterwards. It's very unreliable, situational. Your opponent needs to have like at least 3 minions on the board for this to work. That's another thing that I have to point out. Like if you're playing a deck that doesn't like play a lot of minions, like just you only get a couple, and then you just rather have like something else maybe. The 1/1s can be very annoying. Maybe sometimes it stops to 7/7. Like Aggro Shaman, if they don't have small minions to go with it, it's just have like 2 totems and 7/7. Like the 7/7 has to bump into these if there's no Lightning Storm. But nothing too crazy. Okay, Bookworm, 6 mana, 3/6 dragon. I approve. I like this card a lot. I think this is a really cool card. This is exactly what dragon decks need, which is to have an immediate effect when you play a card. The 3/6 stats, like, yeah, it's not like crazy good, but the effect is so powerful. I don't think it's gonna be like, oh my god, it's so amazing. But if you're playing a dragon deck, like dragon control, like definitely playing 2 of these. It also enables like all your other dragons, so your early minions that like have dragon synergies. So there's that, because this is a dragon, it enables other dragons. It curves out well if you have Blackwing Corruptors that you're playing. You obviously play the Corruptor before this, and then it, like, this enables other stuff. In Priest Dragons, I'm not that convinced, because you already have a Cabal Shadow Priest. Like, it's kind of like fighting for the same slot. Priest also has a lot of other 6 mana cards, like Entomb, for example. There's a lot of good 6 mana cards. Sylvanas you still want to put in there. But in like Paladin, I think this is pretty sweet. Man, there might be some other dragon decks for this too. Very cool dragon. Gonna be playing it a lot. We'll see how good it ends up being. You know, have to always be a little bit like in touch with the meta, like how many targets are there for this, and if the meta is something where there's like not that many valuable targets for this, maybe it's not that good. But like right now, just look at it, like it kills a Vandral, it kills a Violet Teacher, before like a Power of the Wild, that is. No, it's so powerful. Like it's a huge difference that it's with 3 or less, and it's not 2 or less. Because like killing those minions, like you kill a Bronze Spear with this, there's no randomness. Like you can choose the target for this. It's really good. Like card draw stuff, like Acolytes. So many good targets for this, and it's really amazing to be killing minions without like dealing damage to them. It's one of the few cards that like kill Vandral very well. Although like Vandral is obviously 4 mana, so Vandral might come out before this card does. But like when you land this on Vandral, it's like, oh my god! Like it just win the game. Like it's so amazing. Like swing. Usually you struggle with the Vandral. And next up we have Malchazar's Imp. 1 mana, 1/3. Whenever you discard a card, draw a card. Yeah, if you're playing the discard lock, this is, I'm gonna go into that one for sure. It's pretty sweet for that, but the stats are kind of weak on its own. Like, you also like this card might not survive another turn. It's gonna like die the turn after it's played, so you might have to like play this and other stuff on the same turn. Fair chance that it's gonna get like Fire Vorax down or kill in other means. But yeah, like definitely putting this in the discard lock. Kind of the same thing as with the what was that card called, like the Silver Bear thing, that it gets a 3/3 on board when you discard it. Definitely goes into discard lock, but the big question right now is that how good is the discard lock gonna be? I have very difficult time evaluating the power of discard lock. I have no clue if it's gonna be very strong or if it's gonna be like kind of meh, or it's gonna be just like so unreliable and discards the wrong cards. And like there's also the issue that you have like Flame Imps and a lot of the cards in a Zoo Warlock right now that they're just really good. Like everything is so efficient and powerful. So in order to put this in and put in the other like discard Warlock cards, it's just you gotta be taking out a lot of good cards on their own. Like every single card you put in, you obviously have to take something out. And are these gonna be that much better than like those cards that already are there? Like, do you think I have to Flame Imp for this? Like, not really. No, you want to play both. I don't know. Like, yeah, just I'm gonna be really interested. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on the discard log. I'm gonna be monitoring it very closely. It might become a popular thing on the ladder. Very strong card in that archetype. We'll see if that archetype is gonna be viable or not. Moros. Yeah, I think this is pretty shit. Like, I don't. The Steward, I think this should be like a 2/1 or 1/2, or the Steward should have toned or something like this. It needs to be something more. Like I don't think this is gonna cut it. It's so easy to like with all the Wild Pyro effects, Ravaging Ghoul, for example. Like this dies so easily, and so does the Steward. I think that for like higher tiers of play, this definitely could have been like a 1/2 or 2/1, or maybe even like. Well, with 2/2 would be too strong, I think, because then you get like immediately a 3/3 worth of power. But like, you probably wanna like, even if it was a 2/2, like okay, let's imagine it was a 2/2, you would like unstealth it, right? Like it's not that valuable to keep spawning 1/1 a turn, so then it might die, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think that the thing about this is that it for like legend players, this could have definitely been at least a 2/1. But this can be a card at lower ranks that is very frustrating to play against, because like there might not be as many like AoE effects. If less experienced players, like Wild Pyro might not be a thing. There's maybe less AoE. Some decks might not run that much AoE. So I think there's a consideration there that this would have been like, oh, I can't do anything with that, and it's like just feels so bad. Like there's that like unlimited wave of stuff, and the wave of like 1/1's coming in every turn. And it's like feels bad, but it's just it's a little bit like unfortunate casualty of I think of like the stealth mechanic being frustrated at lower ranks, and I don't you're not gonna play this card, like no, like it's not good. Like if this ends up, maybe at some point, if there's some like added value, some synergy that gets introduced in like next expansion, maybe it's gonna be a thing. Like what about like priest? You power shield this, it doesn't die to like 1 damage, but definitely cannot play it right now. Barnes. Okay, this is a card that I'm both excited about and I'm also a little bit scared about because of how impactful the effect is. I was like, when I saw this, I was like, oh, Reno Lock, yes, like because the most powerful Reno Lock already is the Nozot version, and like summoning a 1/1 copy of random minion in your deck is in Nozot Warlock is crazy good. Like I was like, I actually sent Mike Janae like a message, and he's like one of the guys who like balance out cards. I was like, what are you doing? Like Tusker Totemic 2.0. But I think I was overreacting. Like he was like, eh. But I was like Tusker Totemic 2.0 for like Nozot Death Rogue Warlock, because like when you slam this on turn 4, Reno Nozot Warlock, you have 4 cards that are like godlike. You have Cairn, you have Sylvanas, Ragnaros, and Emperor Thaurissan. So that's like 4 out of 16 approximately, or 17 cards. So you have between 16 and 18 minions in a normal Nozot lock. So it's like 4. If it's 4 out of, because this is also a minion, so it's like 4 out of 16. So a 25% chance of summoning Sylvanas, Cairn, Rag, or Emperor. And there's also other death roll minions that you might have put in there, like maybe you play the 4 mana 2/3 taunt guy, so that's like added value as well. Yeah, and I mean even if this whiffs and you get something that doesn't have any effect, it's still gonna be like a 3/4 and a 1/1 for 4 mana, which is like 4 power and 5 toughness, which is like, it's like okay, like it's definitely a weak turn on average. Like if you just do that, like 4 mana, you play this instead of Twilight Drake, and you don't get anything useful. Like it's bad. Like you'd rather be doing something else. Obviously, like you're gonna be playing Twilight Drake or Mountain Giant and stuff. But I think it's gonna be worth it to be running this, just for the 25% chance to like get a ridiculous outcome of your Reno Nozot Warlock. Yeah, that's like my strongest feeling about this card. The 75% time it's gonna be like, it's like kind of like nothing happens and the game goes on, you trade a little bit and stuff. But it might be a little bit worse than I'm thinking right now. Like maybe Sylvanas is not gonna find value, maybe there's no minions on the other side of the board. Maybe the Rag hits face, but you're not playing a face strategy. The Emperor is obviously gonna be like ridiculous, or like extra Emperor effect, like just reducing all of your stuff, and like sometimes the Rag is gonna get a big shot and stuff. But yeah, you can also maybe try to play this in a priest. Yeah, guys, priest is actually a class still. So you can try to like use the new purify card to like get your Deathwing back to 12 for 2 mana, or like some other silence effects, and try to like silence the minions back to their original stats from 1/1. But Reno Nozot Warlock, that's where you stick this in. You get the 25% for a huge outcome. We'll see if it's gonna be like how good it's gonna be. Okay. Purify and Priest. Tech Curator. I like this card a lot. I think it's actually really cool. 7 mana 4/6 mech. So like the mech part of it is not that relevant, I think. Like at least right now. Maybe after the next expansion, the mech synergy, there's gonna be like more. But right now it doesn't do all that much in standard format. Draw a Beast, Dragon, and Murloc from your deck. Okay, so the way I look at this is like, once again, like with the other draw beast dragon murlocs, like the murlocs are like what suck. Like murlocs are just really bad. Like there's not that many murlocs that you want to be playing. The murlocs are really weak unless you have something like class specific. Like maybe in a paladin you can get a like a, you know, like control paladin. You can maybe stick in like a the murloc knight or something like that. Like maybe that's gonna be alright. But in general, I think that like drawing a beast and dragon already is strong enough for the effect. So you can have like, if you're playing like dragons, maybe you can fit in some like cool beasts too. And the taunt part of this is very relevant. Like, you know, twin emperors. Like instead of now this time like having conditional like extra 4/6 taunt, you get those extra value going forward. Very, very good card. And if you play like a beast dragon hybrid of some sort, if you have both of those in your deck, I think you put this in. Definitely a control card, like a late game card. Goes for value, goes for defensive playstyle. I'm gonna be playing this a lot. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. Most of the times I think I'll be ignoring the murloc thing from it though. Alright, well, this card is something that might not be like very competitive or might not be that amazing. Like, it's very solid. 5 mana, 5/6. Rogue card. Battlecry, reduce cost of your cards from your hand from other classes by 2. Okay, so we have to like list all the cards that give you class cards from other classes, right? In order to like understand this card fully. There's the new 1 mana Pirate, which is like 1 mana 1/1, gives you one card from like from the other class. So that's one. Then you have the Anders the Huckster, which is 2 mana 2/2, give you a card. That's pretty sweet. Like that's probably the best one. And then you have Burgle, which is 3 mana. You get 2 cards, but it's like it's pretty expensive and bad card. Like anybody who's played Burgle, like it's really fun, but it's not very good. So you get to reduce the cost of those cards. The stat line is really solid. Like 5 mana, 5/6. It's very strong. Like even if you only reduce like two cards or something like that with this, like it's definitely gonna be worth it. But the thing is, like, there's a lot of good 5-drops already. Like, you know, I'm playing Azure Drakes, for example, in a rogue. You can only run so many 5s. Do you really want to put Burgle in this deck? Like, it's not enough. I think it's not enough with just Hucksters and the 1 mana Pirates to be necessarily running this. Like, so you have to have that first, and you have to like not cast the card, and it needs to have like a high mana cost, and like it needs to be a useful card, and it's like it's weird. But so I think you have to play Burgle if you want to like make this really worth it. But Burgle on its own is like so bad. And you might get like 1 mana cards or like even like some 0 mana cards. Okay, there's not that many. But I think the downside of running Burgle might be too high for this to be like competitive. But I'm gonna be having so much fun with this and playing the Burgle and stuff. And sometimes the outcomes are gonna be ridiculous. Sometimes you get like the discounts that you get. Like what if you get, let's say you like Burgle a Tyrion and then you play this on 5. You can play a 6 mana Tyrion Forging. It's a dream. 6 mana Tyrion on turn 6. That's ridiculous. But once again, like the cards are gonna be random. You might get some trashy cards that you can't really use, cards that you like. Doesn't matter if you have the extra mana. Like later on in the game, you might have the mana to cast whatever you want anyway. Might not be that great, but you can get a Call of the Wild or Tyrion or something ridiculous. Reduce it. More like an interesting card than a good card, I think. But 5 mana 5/6 should never be ignored. Ivory Knight. 6 mana 4/4. Battlecry, discover a spell, restore health to your hero equal to its cost. So I saw a lot of people like not like the card that much in some of the other reviews. I haven't actually watched that many reviews, so whatever I'm talking about may or may not be similar stuff that other evaluators have done. But this I remember seeing some review of that was not very good, and I actually think that this card has like more potential than you would think at first. There's like you can get so many like on demand like good cards like Lay on Hands is probably usually what you wanna get from this. Like that's the dream. Like you just like rather not play a Lay on Hands, you would play like this and you heal for 8 and you have like a strong turn going forward. The problem of this card is that the Paladin has so many like bad spells. There's huge amount of bad spells like secrets on like first time if you play this on turn 6, the first time you're gonna get to play your Noble Sacrifice is gonna be on 7, and it's like that sucks. You just don't want to do that. You want to get like it also only heals for 1 then. So in order to like fully understand like how good this card is, I think I would have to like see the Discover like 10 times or at least, or like 100 times, to see like what's the average result of this. Like you can get like Avenging Brat situationally, you can get the Enter the Coliseum from this, which can sometimes be very good. It also heals for a decent amount. Anything can happen. It's a card that you probably can't use all that well, but it heals for you for 10, and that's amazing. Like 6 mana, 4 heal for 10. That's a big deal. So you might pick that. Maybe if you don't need the healing, you can also sometimes pick cards like Humility situationally, and humility your opponent 7/7. Like if you play this at 7 mana, for example, you have 1 extra mana afterwards. You don't need healing that much. You pick a Humility. You get an extra Equality. Equality is a card that in some matchup it's really essential to have for the board clear. And if you haven't drawn one of your 2 Equalities, or if you had to like use one early on, you might pick an extra Equality from this. Like there's also a lot of good cards from the Paladin class. It's really hard to evaluate, but I think there's a lot of like potential in this, but I just don't know the ratio of like getting good spells versus the bad spells, because there's a lot of good spells, there's a lot of bad spells, there's so many bad spells, especially in Paladin. Just have to like play this and see, but I think that this card might be really strong. 4/4 stats for 6 mana is not spectacular though. Only have a few left. Kindly Grandmother, 2 mana, 1/1, Death Rattle, summon a 3/2 big bad wolf. And these are like some of my least favorite cards that like exist in the game. Like I always like hated Nerubian Egg and Haunted Creeper, and I just like hope to never see those type of Death Rattles again. It's pretty frustrating to play against, I think. Like you can like have to kill it, but then if you kill it, it's like bigger. You have to kill it twice. Like you kill it and it doesn't stay dead. Like I hate minions that don't stay dead when you kill them. I think the card is really good. I think it's good. Like 1/1 is not that much pressure, but it's really sticky. So you have that ability, and like the big thing about why I think this card is going to get played is that there's some like suboptimal 2-drops getting played around in Hunter decks right now. Like I don't think King's Elect, that's very popular, fits in like the low curving Hunters. Like when I see those cards getting like King's Elect getting played and like they joust and there's like Fiery Bat pops up, it's just like really bad, or like 2-drop, and the win rate of King's Elect's joust is not that high. So I think that in decks where you just have a lot of like small minions and like curve out and stuff, like the Curve Hunter is gonna enjoy this card more than it enjoys like some of those other 2-drops right now. Maybe even better than like the every now and then you even see the Huge Toad or something like that. So I don't think this card is like that amazing, but I think it's pretty good. Like it might be surprisingly good. Like 2 mana 1/1, you just like it's so bad, but like just having 2 lives, having some beast synergies. Like maybe like there's so many beast synergy cards too. Even the fact that it's Death Rattle, like if Death Rattle Nozot Hunter ever became a thing, there would be some added value in that. You could like respawn a Death Rattle minion. Like maybe not, it won't, because it's like kind of like weird in a Hunter deck to go for game plan at turn 10. But yeah, I think it's gonna be good. We'll see. Might not be that amazing. Enchanted Raven, 1 mana, 2/2 beast. Yeah, so I think the beast thing about this Raven is like a mic muted. No, it isn't. It's not muted, guys. Why is everyone spamming mic muted? Fix microphone. Chat spam Kappa. The only way to find out. Chat spam Kappa. We did it, Reddit. Oh my god. Made you look. God damn it. Okay, the Kappas are coming in. We're good. Enchanted Raven, 1 mana, 2/2 beast. So a big thing about this card, I think, is that it's beast. So you can like, if you're going first, if you're playing a beast deck, I think this fits well in that, because like beast deck is not gonna be a. I don't think beast deck is gonna be like a control thing, whatever. You just like go for the late game to have those powerful beasts or something. No, it's not gonna be like that. I think beast strategies in general are going to be very aggressive, and beasts might be a thing after a 6 mana guy that spawns a copy of minion. Like you don't want to copy this. Like this is too small. You want to copy like a Stranglethorn Tiger or a like a Druid Claw. But but this is like, you drop this on turn 1. Like, you're going first, imagine that. And then they just like, they have the coin, but they just like, don't want to coin out the Frostbolt on this. Then on turn 2 you play Mark of Charge. You get this to a 4/4 on turn 2, which can already attack. That's gonna be so painful to remove, and even at 3 mana, like, if you have this in your hand, still you can go at like play the Raven into Mark of Charge. At 3 mana you get like a 3 mana 4/4, you draw a card, it's like, oh, you only spent 1 card effectively. Terrible top deck, generally speaking. Like you obviously, like the 1-drop, you want to have it on exactly turn 1. You don't want to have it later on. You want to like help out, curve out well, like have an aggressive start with your Beast Druid. Yeah, I think it's like an okay Beast Druid card. In an aggressive Beast Druid strategy, it's gonna be like a staple, I think. But how good is Beast Druid gonna be? What exactly version is gonna be like the Beast Druid that's gonna like take over the ladder? Like I think that now might be the time. Like after this expansion, might be the time for like Beast Druid to shine. But it's not because of like necessarily this card as much as it is because of the 6 mana thing. But I do think this is also a good card, and it goes well in the Beast strategy. We'll see, I guess. One more card, and then I'm gonna be out from these reviews. Violence Portal. Everybody's favorite card. Like I saw Kriparian get a little bit salty. So this is like a pretty good arena card, I guess. And like Mage wasn't doing so well with arena. Okay. Enough about that. I don't really care about arena, so I'm not gonna go into that. Like, let's just forget about it. I'm not gonna talk about arena as much. I guess it's good for arena. 7 mana, deal 5 damage, summon a random 5-cost minion. So I heard Colento say it, and I think when he was doing some review about this, or I think it was Colento that like was comparing this to Fire Elemental. And I actually think that Fire Elemental comparison is very accurate. Like the minion is going to be weaker than Fire Elemental on average. Like, yeah, there's just some new 5/6s got added, like the Prism Alchazar and like the Ethereal Bedletter, whatever it was called, the rogue one. And there's a lot of 5/6s now that you can get from here, and that's kind of like the same, or as strong as a Fire Elemental. 1 more mana than Fire Elemental, but it deals more damage. It can also be used on face, well, so can Fire Elemental, but like 5 damage is huge. It removes things like Violet Teacher, well, Azure Drake obviously, it's only 4 toughness. You can also kill the Thundrel with this. This is really like, it's a good removal tool, and you also get the 5-cost minion. I think the card is pretty good. I don't think you can necessarily run 2, like throwing these in, because you need to have some like high impact minions too. Like you have to play some like Rag and all that stuff. You play in like a control type of thing, like or something like that, like mid-range mage. I think it's too much to have 2 of these, because you can only cast it on turn 7. You can cast it before that, really. So I think it might be too slow with some if you have all that stuff. I could see this card getting played in some kind of like Smork, so to say, a Smork mage, where this is the most expensive card in your deck. Like this tops off your curve. Like the 7 mana card is the highest that you cut, and you're going for face a lot. You play a lot of early minions. You play like fireballs on face and stuff. Like in that type of deck that goes for face a lot, just like have this top off your curve, because it's like on turn 7, if you like kind of like doing okay-ish, this might be the final damage that you need, or you might use it on like a taunt to let your minions get through that you already have on the board. It also strengthens your board with a 5-cost minion. I think it's a strong card. I think it might have a lot of places. I'm not sure if like it's if you want to play 1 or 2. I'm not sure if it's actually gonna be used more in control or aggro. Maybe in both. There are some bad 5-cost minions. You might get some 3/3s, for example. You might get a Starving Buzzard. It's not that reliable, but I think it's a good card. And I would expect it to see at least some play. Not sure how much or how many copies. Okay, I think we're done here. That was my card review. Let's see. In a month we'll see how many cards I got wrong. Certainly gonna be some that I might have not been spot on. Some that I might have like missed some opportunities or like text where they go. But maybe got some kind of idea now on that.